To Right Stuff Radio today. We have a special guest, Erica Valla, right?
Emily Valla. Very close.
I'm sorry. Start over.
No, it's all right.
I didn't write it.
No, it's a tough one. It's Emily Valla. Valla is like velocity or velociraptor. If you think of that sound.
We just did a radio show together. I should have gotten it.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
All right. So we're in here. You're from the Better Business Bureau. Tell people about your position there.
So I'm Development Director at Better Business Bureau. I essentially act as our PR department. I do a lot of speeches, a lot of consumer-centered education, talking about scams, identity theft, things like that to educate people also through anything in the PR world, social media, our website, those kind of things.
There's always something to talk about.
They're endless. Those scams, they're always, even if they're old ones, back up again.
So when you come to work in the morning, what do you tell yourself? I want to help somebody today. I want to save an old couple. I mean, what is it that you feel like you're doing? Because you came out of the media world reporting different types of media. Now you're in a different type of media.
And I think it's so important. And there's always someone, every time we give a speech or Dale gives a speech, there's always someone in the audience who says, I never knew that, and now I won't do that. Or now I'm going to check my credit report more often. It's little wins like that. Those little victories are really what keeps you going, because there's so many bad guys, scam artists out there after our money and our identities.
And there's no one doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about building trust in today's digital environment. So on the radio show today, Dale Dixon talked about transparency, right? And we talked about having it during the service, throughout the service, whether it's the sales, whether it's the production. The other part about it too, and this is a question I asked Dale, is when we hear transparency, it's always when you have to respond to an unhappy customer, right? I mean, that's typically when we think of using transparency, but we're talked about it in a little bit different way. It all builds around trust.
Yes.
And doing it in a digital world, when a guy like me who has a sweatshirt, Carhartt's on, I'm out in the field working, how do I do that?
How do you build that
How do I do that in the digital?
Transparency?
Digital world, right? I mean, what we're trying to do is we're trying to establish trust through social media, through the different platforms.
Social media is a wonderful platform to just even show what you're doing that day. And just taking a picture and posting that's a pretty transparent part of your day. You know, so showing that little nugget, that real picture, though, of course, we can filter it and we can make it this and we can make it that, but that's a good opportunity. A lot of things with the digital world is we have an opportunity to really say one thing and put that in front of people and then do something different. And this is a larger scale example possibly, but I had to rent a car over the weekend, and I think everyone's had rental car horror stories. And I was sent an email, so we're talking digital marketing. I was sent an email saying, here's a promo code. I went through the process for it and I got an end price, and it said this includes taxes and fees. Great. And then I get to the rental car place and it's twice as much. And that online thing said taxes and fees. So they're not being transparent in that because they're acting as if they are. They're pretending they're being transparent, saying, we know you're expecting fees, this price includes it. But then once you're in front, oh, well, actually, there's this variable and that variable, and you could have told me that up front, and maybe I would have been prepared for that price. But now it's
like
twice
a bait
as
and
much.
switch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's even more opportunity, I think, with this online, where you can price things online. You can get quotes online or advertise a deal on social media saying 40% off everything, well, except this, this, and this, and this. Yeah. And since you're controlling that message, you can really make that as clear as you want.
See, and I think the problem that I have as a small business owner is whatever car rental business it is, it's probably a big chain all over the country. They're doing these bait and switch. They've affected you. So now when you want to come to my service, an honest contractor, you have lack of trust, right? So what can I do as the small guy, and from, I guess, basically my handheld device, maybe from an iPad and from our computers, what is it that I can do to help build that?
One great opportunity to build trust with your consumers, and we talk about it a lot at BBB through our complaint process and our review process, but even on other social media, anytime a customer leaves a review, that's an opportunity for you to interact with them.
Yes.
If it's a positive review, hey, thanks, it was a pleasure working with you, we enjoyed this piece of your project, and that's positive PR you're building up. And if it's a not so favorable review, it's an opportunity to make it better. and to fix that and to acknowledge it. And then when I see as another customer and I go to your Facebook or whatever it may be and someone else has complained, but we'd like to make it right, then that increases my trust in you because you're not ignoring them. And so I know if I have a problem, you're going to try to make it right with me.
Yeah.
So that's a wonderful opportunity. We're not taking advantage of that enough. Yes.
You have to respond.
You have to respond and ask for reviews.
So,
we don't ask for reviews.
Just last night, I was responding to a Better Business Bureau review. Not a complaint, a review. Okay?
Okay.
And what you said to me just gave me an idea that I should have done it better.
Okay.
It was actually a job that I manage. He wrote in, hey, I want to thank Brandon for their service, yada, yada, yada. My response was, it's been a pleasure serving you. But I did not personalize it, and I should have said something about, hey, looking forward to you getting your bathroom put back together. Or it must be nice to take a shower again, or something like that. Because that would have helped personalize it.
Yes, and then that
Why didn't I do
person, yeah, there you go. And that person who you've personalized the experience with can now tell other people. And then the other people who are looking at your business review, who you have no idea, they've seen that moment and they said, hey, this is a company that really cares about their customers. They remembered what they did for this guy. So it's a great opportunity.
Can you do that with Google reviews? Can you give feedback on the Google reviews also?
I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on Google reviews. You certainly can and should on Better Business Bureau and a lot of other social media. I think maybe on Google reviews. Yeah. It's a worthwhile question.
We'll have to check that out. And I think, what are some of the challenges, and I think our sector, small business owners, small business employees are trying to build their brand, trying to build their business. What are some of the challenges that people like me are dealing with? That we just can't implement it into the practice, or we're not doing it right, because there's so many times that we hear something good, but when we implement it, it's terrible.
Do you have an example of something you've implemented that didn't go?
I think one of the biggest things is getting reviews.
Sure.
That's a huge challenge for us to say, hey, thanks for using my company. Can you now leave me a review? And you're like, I'm too busy.
Well, there's several ways to go about doing that. Obviously, the face-to-face, the personal ask really gives that opportunity. And it can be intimidating to do, but the worst they can say is, I don't have time. Okay, well, darn it. But if you ask, the odds go up exponentially than if you don't ask. So if you have an email, maybe it's a link to, hey, we really want you to go to our BBB review, just click this and leave us a review there. Or maybe it's a sticker on a invoice that you have to give. Any opportunity to ask for a review. We don't ask for reviews enough, and we know there's data, there is all sorts of consumer data, BBB data, national data, explaining just how much value there is, because it's word of mouth. When you hear someone else say, I liked this service, you're more likely to go there. Well, reviews are the same way, but we just have a larger audience we can reach. So the more you can ask for reviews, it's the hardest thing to do, but the more you can ask for them, the more likely you are to get them.
But if you've done a great job.
Yes.
I mean, if you've done a great job, the customer is happy with you, and really, they're jumping up and down. They should want to help you. You're just saying, ask them.
Yes, I can't even tell you how many more reviews I've given when I've been asked, because sometimes we just don't know.
You don't think of it.
Or I don't know if you prefer which website you want us to review on, or there's so many different ways. But if you say, hey, I put a lot of stock in my BBB review, and this is where I would love if you could take 2 minutes, I'll do that for you.
Yeah.
But if I have to be asked, I want to know what you want, and then I'm happy to.
And it helps that business too. I mean, if they've done a great job, you want to help the business because they've helped you in whatever as you bought their product or service, it helps them.
Absolutely.
And it's probably great to let them know the importance of that and the benefit. So what are some of the quick strategies that I can implement today to really work in digital environment, social media? I mean, what are some of the things that you can tell me that say, I can go back to my office, tell my staff, and say, look, guys, get a great idea from Emily. This is going to help establish trust and bringing clients in.
Absolutely. On the side of transparency, if you're going to run a special on social media, post something, be honest about it, be clear about what it's for. Use that social media to show your day-to-day life. That's another way of being transparent. Hey, we're working on this project. We're really proud of this. That's a glimpse of your day-to-day, and it's a glimpse of advertising as well. Personalize. To sum up what we said, personalize. When you do get those customer reviews, respond. Negative or positive, respond. Thank them for taking the time out of their day to leave you that feedback. Make it better if you can, if you need to, and ask for those responses.
I think one of the biggest things is that as business owners and managers, we always we understand social media now, pictures are almost a must, right? I mean, people don't read, they just look, right? And if it's a picture, they're going to look at it. We always worry about what's in the background. You know, is it is it a guy bending over, tearing out vinyl and underlayment and water damage, and his crack is showing? I mean, just, you know, the type of stuff that doesn't really display very well for the company, but it's that type of stuff that also says it's real, huh?
Sure, and I mean, you might want to, you know, make sure you're not showing his
it,
crack.
tuck your shirt in.
But yeah, that honest of, hey, this is a really gross floor, but we fixed it, we made it better. You can do a before and after picture, and that's very transparent. Look how gross we had to get before, and we have this beautiful end product.
You know, there's a guy, Dan, DNR Drainage.
Oh, sure.
He won one of your awards. And he goes down with every customer with a video camera in the crawl space. And sometimes if there's water in there, you can hear the water, him like a fish, right? In shallow water. And he does a great video for the customer. But that's where it stops. You know, Dan doesn't post it anywhere else. And what a great way that you could actually use that for promotional purposes.
Sure, and you do want to make sure that you're maintaining trust with the customer. Ask them, you know, if this is showing potentially personal information or giving away something about their house. You know, you don't want to give that experience, but a lot of times they'll say, oh, sure, just make sure you don't show my house number. Then great, you know, there's an opportunity to show this is what we do. This is what might be in your crawl space you don't know about.
I don't think anyone would say, hey, that's Joey's crawl space over there,
yeah,
right?
You're pretty
so, I mean, that's one of the safe
But you
things.
want to make sure that you're maintaining trust with your customers.
Yeah, and I think that is a big deal when you're taking a picture inside somebody's home without permission.
Yes.
What do you suggest on that? Should you get signed authorization, just ask permission? I mean,
you know, I don't know the legal ins and outs on that, so I'd be cautious to advise. For me, I just ask, you know, if it's something like that, if it's an event that we're at, you know, that BBB's speaking, I say, hey, can I take a picture for our Facebook page? And oftentimes they'll just say yes. Yeah. And if they say no, then
and be
I
respectful
don't push
too,
the line.
right? I mean, be respectful of what's in the background or what they're doing. I think that's a big deal. Emily Valla.
We'll get there.
I'll get it. Valla, with the Better Business Bureau, and your title?
Development Director.
Development Director. So she is new with Dale Dixon's team. Yes. Enjoying it?
Yeah, I am loving it.
Yeah, it's tough to keep up with Dale. He's full of energy.
Yes, he is. Lots of new ideas, but it's exciting.
That's why he's the innovation officer, right? So Brandon Wright, Right Stuff Radio Show, thanks for joining us today. And the topic really is building trust in your business in today's digital market. I think we all need to do it. There's so many little things that we're probably already doing right now that we can just implement into our processes, in our systems. And that's what it's all about. Business is about trust, whether it's our employees, whether it's our relationships with friends, or whether it's our customers. This is your host, Brandon Wright, Right Stuff Radio Show.